Hey lovelies, it's Alexa from Bluewoods Design. I am a part of this YouTube Advent Hop, which is so much fun. Tons of amazing artists. It is hosted by Jolene and Lucy, who run the Facebook group Live Art Journaling and Self-Development. If you haven't followed them or checked out their group, you should definitely go do so. Today I'm going to be making these ornaments with you guys, and since they are a big art journaling group, I thought I would show you a technique you can use in a journal, but also on something kind of festive for the holidays, which is some lovely ornaments. So you just saw me show you a bunch of journals. I always have journals on hand that I'm working in. I'm never usually working in just one. This is one way to work is to do multiples. So I grabbed a journal and I have my 3 ornaments, and I'm basically working on the ornaments, but then any leftover paint or whatever, I'm smacking on a page in my journal, and I'm already going to have a start to a background when I come to that journal page. So one thing you can do is when you are art journaling is having a couple of extra journals off to the side that you do the same thing, right? So if you're smacking some blue paint on there, put some blue paint on a couple other pages in a couple different journals, and next time you open it up, it's ready to go with some inspiration already. As you can see here, this is a wipe-off paper, kind of like I roll my brayer off on it, but I get kind of impatient with things drying, so sometimes I just take those pages, press them down, and any wet paint starts to make these marks that you don't plan. And another thing I love that you've seen already through the whole beginning of this video is finger painting. It's just super easy, super quick. You get your color down. It ends up giving some fun texture, some different looks. I also pressed the ornaments into the book so that I got some of those little texture marks when it pulled back up. And then I used some art sprays and now some watered down black paint. All of these things are things you can do in a journal. So when you are doing a journal, imagine each of these ornaments as a different journal. You can do similar things in each one just to get a background going. And suddenly you have 3 pages already started. And now I've grabbed some of my scraps. I'm kind of a scrap hoarder. I find that especially those edges of notebooks when I tear them out. So I like to make messy art pages, but keep it in the book. And then when I tear it out, I keep those little edges. I don't know why I like them so much, but I do. So I'm grabbing some black to add some contrast, and then some of these little edges. And a lot of them have paint on them already, but you'll see one of them coming up is kind of just has a tiny bit of color. So I add some color by just doing some art sprays and stuff like that. So even holding on to the all white ones, you can add color to it, and then suddenly you have these nice little interesting collage bits. So far you've really seen me do finger painting, spraying and splattering, and collaging some what a lot of people would throw in the garbage. But my point being is that it does not take a lot of fancy stuff. It doesn't take a lot of huge technique to get a really cool impact. I will say when you're finger painting all these different colors, you'll want to dry in between so that you don't make mud or just get it really mixy matchy. If you like that look, sure. Mine tend to go way too messy if I don't dry them sometimes. So as you can see here, again, I'm not wasting any of these little scraps. My big ones I'll just throw back in my drawer, but these little tiny ones, I figure throw them in a page. I've already got now some texture, some interest. That page looks like a hot mess, but when I come to it as an art journaler, it's inspiring in some way, whether that be the color that inspires me or just the texture, whatever it is. I'm not staring at a white page and it gets me going, which is awesome. I am now cutting out some circles for sort of a focal point. And again, these are pages that I either wiped a brayer off on or jelly prints or just scraps of paper that I happen to have. So I'm picking different colors and testing them out. I kind of like audition them, right? Like I lay them down, see which ones I like, see if the contrast is good. I want it to stand out, but I don't want it to be too crazy. Obviously, there's enough of that going on with all those colors. So I punch out a bunch of circles and try them out. Now, once I decide what I want, the great news is, again, I've now punched out a bunch of these circles. I'm going to throw some into a journal. I'm going to throw some into my ephemera and scrappy bits drawer. And now I've got these things ready to go next time. So one of the things it does is saves you time. So if you have time and you're working and you're cutting out circles or you're stamping words, which you'll see here later, I stamp extra words too. The great news is if you have the time one time to do it and you make extra, the next time if you're short on time, you don't have to do all those steps. It's ready to go. So here you can see I'm just smacking some down into a journal, and that'll be a really fun one to open up and be inspired and figure out what I'm going to make. And here's what I was talking about just a moment ago. Stamping words. So I know I want to have a little sentiment on here. And so as I'm going, I decide, well, I've got them out and I've got this little scrap of paper. So I stamp probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 words. And then I choose which ones I want to use on the actual ornament. And the other ones, again, I put into, I have a nice little drawer full of these little bits and bobs that I use when I just need an extra something. So a great tip when you're doing that is just to think about keeping the extras, putting them into extra journals, having them on hand so that when you're short on time, I feel like that's always one of the obstacles, right? Is we maybe don't have a ton of time. So we maybe don't do it one day. But if you've got all these things kind of at the ready and at your disposal, you can sit down for 10 minutes and do something real quick. You've got a page that's already started. You've got bits and bobs and collage things that you can add. Really, then it's just sort of adding some paint and finalizing what you want to do. So you can totally do that in no time flat. So here again, I'm just kind of auditioning words, trying out which ones I like. And then, of course, I'm going to glue these guys down and paint my edges. So because it's kind of this grungy, messy look, I just really liked the black along the edge to give it some contrast. And you'll see I come back in and kind of do some sweeps around the edge so that it almost falls over the edge and gets a little grungy. And with that, my friends, we are done. These fun little guys are super cute. I'll show you some pictures of them hanging on the tree. Just fun, vibrant pops of color. Great news is I've decided to give one away. Ta-da! So if you want to enter to win one of these, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then just comment below with your name, which ornament is your favorite, and a way I can get in touch with you in case you win. So good luck, and thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of the Advent Hop coming up.